101 Part-Time Jobs is the name of the game. If you're listening to this, you probably know how difficult it is to get a job to cover the bills. Indeed Flex is a simple app that covers that with temporary and flexible work available when you need it. I spent my whole 20s going job to job, feeling guilty when I left a role to go traveling or playing music. I did retail, delivery driving, bar work. And it took me years to realize that feeling of guilt wasn't necessary. Looking back, it was because my only options were working at places that made you feel like you should work there forever. Indeed Flex is designed for people looking for temporary and flexible work that fits around their schedule. You just download the app, have a quick interview, and you're ready to go. There are thousands of shifts on the app, so you can pick and choose the ones you want. No messing around, no lengthy CVs and cover letters. Just start earning. With the holidays fast approaching, if you're looking for more funds, head to Indeed Flex to find your next temporary role.
Meet the computer you can talk to. With Copilot on Windows, working, creating, and collaborating is as easy as talking. Got writer's block? Share your screen with Copilot Vision to help spark inspiration, and use Copilot Voice to have a conversation and brainstorm ideas. Or maybe you need some tech help. With Copilot Vision, Copilot sees what you see. Let Copilot talk you through step-by-step guidance so you can master new apps, games, and skills faster. Try now at windows.com/Copilot.
101. Everyone's having to be kind of creative playing music and trying to find a way to survive. And I think there's so much pressure living in an expensive city.
Yeah, being creative is a real drag. It's stuff.
Do you feel like you've got to do it? I mean, I know this stuff is very kind of like nose on to talk about, but I mean, I feel like if you're playing music over the age of 21, then there's something inside of you that's like, I got to do this.
I don't think I would have started on the path I'm on now if I didn't have some idea that like it was going to end up being stable, like at least at the beginning, because I was sort of frightened, and I'd very much been used to staying on the sort of beaten path, you know, in terms of college and school and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But over the past 2 years, I think a switch has flipped where I sort of am like, well, this is sort of my fate. If I'm destitute, so be it. You know, this is going to have to happen now.
Yeah.
You know, I had an interesting conversation about that with when we toured with the band King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
Yeah.
Stu talked about that. He was a very sort of humble guy, where he was just like, you know, you have to be at peace with the fact that, you know, one day it can everything might crumble down and you have to go back to like, I don't know, being a chorus teacher or something. Not that there's anything wrong with being a chorus teacher, but
we had Stu on. I spoke with Stu at a really earlier episode about 2 years ago, and I remember leaving that or finishing that conversation and feeling quite upbeat. I had like a pep in my step, and I think that when you chat to someone who is able to kind of communicate those ideas, and even if it's like a bit of a real idea like that, or whether, you know, you get inspired or however you want to call it, like, that's special. It's awesome to be able to have those kinds of conversations.
yeah.
Have you had many like mentors or people you've been asked, like, able to ask for advice? Because like no one does this shit completely alone.
Dick Cheney has given me some really great you know, guidance over the years. Who else? I don't know. My dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I've probably got too much guidance, actually. It's really annoying.
Show off.
In my life. Well, you know, it's too much guidance can be, often I get guidance suggesting completely opposite things, and that's a real pain. That's a real pain in the ass. I've already disappointed someone when that happens.
And you're used to being in a band of people, you know, and when there's loads of opinions, there's opinions flying around the room.
No, that's why I had to get the hell out of there, you know. I gotta
you have that like a dynamic that wouldn't be the same if it was, if any one person was swapped out for another person, right? And so there's something innately special about being in a group. How do you kind of frame doing like a solo thing in your mind? Is it like an extension to it, or completely to the side, or is it even maybe like part of it?
Honestly, no, it's kind of not a part of it at all. Like the band really is. It's like you say, it's like the band's a different organism completely. So, you know, I feel like if I was trying to like replicate what the band does on the solo album, I'd be doing a really shit job of it, because I mean, I feel like that's what a lot of solo albums try and do, and it's like just a watered down sort of narcissistic version of the band. I mean, the solo project felt, the workflow was way different. In a way, you know, what the band does well provided, because I didn't want it to sound like a band, you know, it actually was the inspiration for me going the opposite direction, you know. Yeah. Like it provided like a template of what I should not try and do on this album.
$0 is great, and the video is
$0.
Why? What?
This is such a British way of saying the title. Sorry,
what,
that's
is
so
it $0?
Funny.
How do you say it?
I said $0, but that's really great. Not dollar. You're making me feel like a not dollar man. I'm gonna say that when I play London or something.
That's funny because you actually sing it in there. I sound like
so funny.
I sound like I know nothing.
Not at all. You know not, my dear.
I know now. I quite like that. I learned that when I was working at a community radio station where all the DJs would, I mean, there'd be like over 200 DJs, and all of them invariably would play stuff that either I'd never heard of, or like I wouldn't have ever pressed play on myself. And that was a really good lesson, to be in a room and be like, I don't know, what is this? You know, because I think, you know, music is definitely always going to be one of those things that there's going to be a lot of like snobbery or whatever you want to call it. Like, oh my God, you don't know that? You're such a fucking idiot. Like, now, no, fuck that. It's like, oh, you haven't heard that yet? Oh, give this a try. I wish I could hear it for the first time again.
Well, I'd like to defend snobbery to my last breath. You know, it's all I really have at this point. You know? I don't have much.
Are you the guy that's arguing at the party about music?
Yeah, you know, everyone, you know, I'm the guy who puts on Albert Ayler, you know, as goes to the room and starts talking about, you know, I don't know.
You got loads of friends.
No, but I've some better than friends, and that's like superiority over everyone.
Yeah. Are you sociable? Are you going out? Are you going out in New York? Are you trying to find new places?
Hell no. Not this last year. This last year, I've completely, you know, dispensed of any sort of will to go out and drink or party. I mean, I do it occasionally, but I just don't like to leave my neighborhood where I live. And I've just, you know, I've got shit to do. It's annoying. Like there was a like when I was 21, God, how young I was. I would just be, there was a year with not much stuff to do. So I was reveling, and now the tables have turned.
Yeah. I used to think that I was doing something like worthwhile by spending the full day at the pub. Mm-hmm. Like, I was like, I'm doing something. I'm like, leave me the fuck alone. I'm doing something. And it felt that way. And now, yeah, I'm the same. I'm like doing these interviews, doing this show. It's like, you know, it feels creative. It feels like I'm getting something out of it. Hopefully I'm giving people something out of it. But like, it's work, isn't it? It's like you got work to do. You got to have some kind of structure to it, or you just got to do it. You just got to wake up and do it. Get the fuck out of bed, go for a shit, have a coffee, go for another shit, and then get to work.
Yeah. No, it's, wow, you shit a lot. I mean, I typically, I've realized, you know, I kind of have to wait a long time before I start doing any music stuff during the day. Like I used to kind of get on that sort of, just punishing mindset and thinking that would make me make more stuff. But I've realized like I can only really start um in like right before the evening, honestly.
Mm.
I have to do other shit in the morning. I have to like relax all day and then I can, it's almost like if I treat music as work, it doesn't end up very well. So I have to like, waste the entire workday and then be like, well, now there's no hope of me getting anything done. And then in my free time, I make the music,
Yeah.
That's all hope is lost.
Is there an element of almost like tricking yourself into it? Like doing it when you're not looking?
Oh yeah. It's a chess game up here, just layers of deceit all the time.
Isn't that mad? That thing that you kind of structure your life around is something that it's so hard to look at it directly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a conflict.
Like the hardest part of a job making music is the fact that it's like your goals are so poorly defined, or like your daily tasks are so poorly defined. You have to sort of create it for yourself and then hold yourself accountable to it. And a lot of the people who gravitate towards making music are not particularly well equipped to do something on that kind of sophisticated with their daily lives. So that's why, you get a lot of people like freaking out and, just years of inactivity and they're just making shitty music because they just couldn't stop working or something like that. There's a lot of elements I've realized that you have to balance. Overthinking does not help. Kind of just got to be pretty generous to yourself, I think, and not really. Because I mean, you should probably ground yourself too. I mean, I feel like having like a part-time job on the weekends or something might honestly be a good idea. Like just work in the real world, put yourself back there. So you have something to like push against, I guess,
101 part-time jobs just reached 400 episodes and we won 2 awards at the Independent Podcast Awards. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting us. The reason we've been able to keep going is because of sponsorship. We've been lucky enough to work with some brands who we believe in and we understand the message of, and we hope you do too. This episode is sponsored by DistroKid. If you're looking for a way to put out your music, if you have a friend, a niece, a nephew that doesn't quite know how to get their music up on Spotify or Apple, tell them to head to DistroKid, where you can be your own record label effectively. That was a dream 10 years ago. I wish I had that growing up. But for an affordable price, you can go on DistroKid. Head to distrokid.com/VIP/101pod to get 30% off your running costs there for the first year. So if you've made a record and you're not quite sure what you wanted to do with it, you can head to DistroKid and release it yourself. distrokid.com/VIP/101pod for 30% off your first year. Right now, we'll get back to the episode. What are some of the hustles that you've done in New York? Have you been on the sort of the Craigslist or the kind of...
Yeah, mostly when I was in school, but I really had no idea how to... Money really, really stressed me out when I was younger, even. Like, I've never really been the type to just spend and be broke and stuff like that. Like, that always freaked me out. So I would save up a lot. I worked as a camp counselor for like 3 summers when I was like 14 to 16. I was the youngest counselor they ever hired at this camp that I went to because I was so goddamn responsible and great. And then they sort of instituted a rule after I went there that they raised the age you can hire counselors because I think I was a bit out of my depth.
That's good.
And then I worked as a dishwasher for like a summer at this diner. And then I was a dog walker. And I loved my dog walking job. I thought it was so, after working like, I essentially was a dishwasher at the camp too. So after working there, doing that for like a couple of summers, I was like, oh my God, I get to be outside. I get to hang out with dogs. This is fucking amazing. I thought I would never get a better job, honestly.
And you chat with other dog owners. You chat with the kind of people that you'd never run into. I mean, maybe you wouldn't want to, but I don't know. Feel different on different days. I can imagine you're hanging in the dog park. It's a different world, baby.
Different world. You know, dogs have different societies than people. The cultural differences are vast. Things that are natural to dogs, you know, upon first greeting, would be incredibly intimate for human beings. So I was, you know, brought into that world. I was bitten in the leg. I still have a scar by a pit bull rescue named Deborah at one point. Although she was very sad afterwards. She was very Deborah was interesting because she would literally try and kill other dogs. She never barked. She never made noise. She would just, the moment she saw another dog, she would just like pull as hard as she could. She was going in for the kill. She was used as a fighting dog. And she got rescued by this guy.
Damn.
And, you know, one day, the schedule dictated that I was to walk Deborah. I would go to people's houses, pick up their dogs, and then I'd walk them with maybe some other neighborhood dogs. And I went to Deborah's house with this small dog. It was one of the first times I went to go pick Deborah up. So I went to walk Deborah as I was carrying this other small dog. And I opened the door and Deborah was face to face with this little dog. And only now do I realize how precarious that was. But the owner of Deborah just like stood up because he was he worked from home as this coder who was just constantly, you know, typing like a sort of this movie CIA agent. He just never stopped typing into this big matrix at his desk. But he finally turned around and was like, oh my God, like this is about to be a bloodbath in this house. But Deborah just like stood just completely still and then like looked up at me and looked at the dog. I don't think she'd ever figured it would be delivered to her that easily. But she did not kill the dog. She in fact, after about 10 seconds, I think it was because the dog was little too, like so little that Deborah was like, I could easily take this thing, you know. Finally relaxed and they got along great for the rest of their thing. It was just 10 seconds of deciding whether or not to let him live.
You know, sometimes it is too easy.
She'll kill people her own size, you know. That's her.
Have you got any of your own pets?
I have a cat.
Yeah, what's their name?
Puma.
What's up, Puma? Well,
Puma's,
what's your relationship with Puma like?
It's cordial. You know, we're on good terms.
Respectful.
I feed her and pet her, and she sleeps a lot.
Yeah.
And we get along quite well. I think, you know, some days she needs some time alone, and I respect it. Other days she's a bit more friendly.
Is Puma on your bed at nighttime now? Do you get into bed in the New York cold, and after 20 minutes you feel there's bloop, and there's a nice little warmth bit on your legs?
Occasionally, when she's really feeling, you know, amicable, you know, she'll cuddle a little bit. But
hey, we're complicated people. A bit of respect goes a long way.
It's true. Yeah.
What are other people around you doing? I mean, like playing music. I feel like you can be in like a sick band and like tour a lot and get to that point where it's like, okay, this just isn't financially viable. I'm out. Do you know many people like that?
Yeah. there was a band who we loved. We opened for them a couple times called the Bobby Lees, and they were an example of a band who was really good and who was sort of a real fixture. And they're a Woodstock band, and they would play there all the time. And they literally, like, this past year, they were just like, they released this Instagram post. It was fucking depressing. It was just like, we're not going to do the same. Like, we literally can't live if we keep doing this. So we're just going to stop. It's really too bad.
Yes, that's dark.
But, you know, I know some other people, some other bands who are like, not the most, you know, prominent indie bands, but like people who are like fucking on like year-end lists and stuff like that, and have big opening slots and go on tours to like not a tiny audience, who literally don't own apartments. Like they just live on the road or crash people's houses because that's the only way they can make it work. There's all sorts of people who, you know, are relying on weird other sources of income. People who deal drugs, you know, all sorts of stuff to sort of make it work. I've been pretty damn lucky, honestly, in that I can. This is my only job now.
Nice.
Do this stuff, but of course, you know, I'm pretty frugal at the same time.
I feel like it's part of like the artist's job now to be pretty clued up, to be kind of, you know, to be knowing what's going on. You know, you don't want to be fucked around.
Yeah, I mean, it always helps. I think, you know, it's not a new development, but like, if you have sort of a relatively, if you have a decent understanding of the business side of it, it'll probably help you in the long run. You know, just know you're probably going to have to accept getting fucked over in the beginning, but just know how much you're getting fucked over and for how long you should tolerate it, you know, that sort of thing.
How long you should hold the grudge for.
Yes, exactly. Right now I'm in the getting absolutely fucked over stage of my career.
Are you? Really?
No, it's okay. I have it pretty good comparatively. But you know, there's a lot of like on this solo album, it's like of whatever percentage I get, all of the costs for like if producer wants to take points or something like that, that all comes out of my percentage of 4. Like so if I have like 16% of royalties and the producer wants 6%, then they take it from my 16. So now I only have like 10% of royalties. Something like that.
Yeah.
So that can fuck people, but you know,
people,
okay.
Musicians have been getting fucked over from the dawn of time.
Honestly, it's like it's the only job where people would still do it with the situation being as it is.
Yeah,
I think businesses know that, and they just make the financial decision that suits them best. Bands are just a tough proposition. At this point, like it's a lot of it's like the reason people like bands at all is a lot of like nostalgia. I feel, you know, there are bands. I mean, they're great. They have a certain magic, I will say. Like just the fact, like a band just feels so much cooler than a solo project at the end of the day. It's a band. Come on. Like I'm in a band.
Hey, thanks for the chat. I just got one last question, or sort of something to pitch you, is that I feel like most people have had those days at work where you fucked something up and you cause the company a lot of money, or you break something and, you know, you're like, fuck, I just want today to end now.
Oh my God. I have so many of these. Well, you know, I have 2. Actually, one of them was at this diner job I had. It's pretty simple. I just spilled a whole tray full of dishes right in the middle of the restaurant. You know, this couple like sitting next to me, like just looked right at me like I had just like killed their puppy or something like that. Like they were just like horrified. but I dropped this thing. And I remember being like, come on, I just dropped some dishes. Then the owner of the restaurant came out and was just like, it was this old Greek guy named George. And he was just like, what are you doing, kid? You're killing me. What are you doing? Oh my God, what are you doing? Why would you do that? Like I'd done it on purpose. It was just like, why? It was too bad. And then the other one involves saying a bad word, but I'm gonna say it. Because it was reminded this story takes place in 2016.
Okay.
But anyway, I was put in charge when I was 14 at my aforementioned job at camp. I was in charge of making this sort of Kool-Aid thing called bug juice for all the kids. And I basically actually, I don't know if I can tell the story.
yeah, let's leave it. There's a fucking cliffhanger.
Yeah. Maybe it's best left in the past, actually. Suffice it to say, I messed up the bug juice. By putting too much sugar in. And the boss came and got down on my level and called me a very bad word very loudly in front of everybody.
That's not very nice.
No, it made me really embarrassed.
Yeah. You forget about that. We wipe that clean.
Yeah.
They went through a big thing. Well, I guess you can still do it, but when it first came out, the brew your own beer thing kind of became pretty accessible in department stores or whatever. And I was like, there was one that for cider, and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna make my own cider, and I'm gonna sell it at the house show. And so I took a few months making this cider, and I bottled it up, and I called it Weeping Eye, and sold it for a few quid a bottle. And then within half an hour, there's a really big queue for the loo for the toilet. And I was like, what's going on? And I just recognized that everyone in the queue had a bottle of this stuff that I'd made, and it gave everyone the shits immediately.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's okay.
That's fine. No one bought any more after that.
I forgive you for that.
Cheers for watching. This is 101 Part-Time Jobs. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, and all podcast apps. We've done interviews with Aurora, Kneecap, Idols, Laura Mabry of Churches, and loads more. So tap into 101 Part-Time Jobs on Spotify, Apple, and all podcast apps. Welcome along to 101 Part-Time Jobs. Every single one of our episodes is available ad-free at our Patreon, patreon.com/101 Part-Time Jobs. I know that there are all these messages trying to sell you things that you may or may not want. So for £4 a month, that's around $5.50 US, you can get over 450 of our episodes and every single one in the future, featuring all the brilliant guests that we have week in, week out, completely ad-free. You can head to patreon.com/101 Part-Time Jobs, get all your episodes bother free, and you support us directly. Cheers.